episode of Learning from Home with Mrs. Beckett. Today we're going to take a look at something called the distributive property. But before we do that, I want to start with an open middle task. I want to get you thinking about order of operations and multiplication skills and see what you can do with this task right here. So in this distributive property task, you need to fill in the blanks using the digits 0 to 9. You can only use them each number one time. So there are only 9 spots, so you don't have to use every single digit from 0 to 9. You're just using 9 of them. And you want to make sure that these statements are going to be true. So this first portion of your statement must equal the second part of the statement, which must equal the last part of that statement. So each of these 3 statements must be the same. And I want you to think about this. So what are the numbers that can go into those boxes so that each of these 3 parts of the statement are going to be the exact same value when we solve for that section? So I want you to think about that. I want you to maybe spend like about 5 minutes on this task. So pause this video, spend about 5 minutes on it. If you can get the correct answer, great. If not, that's fine. So then come back to this video and we'll review and we'll come back to this if we need to. Okay? Excellent. So now that you've had a chance to try this task, we're going to take a look at something called the distributive property. So it's really just a fancy word to mean multiplication involving algebra. And you're going to see how this is used through this Desmos activity. And Desmos is a website that we haven't used yet in class. So I want you to go ahead and check this out. And I hope that you find it pretty interesting. There are some interactive sections of this. There are some questions that you're going to answer that will give you that instruction as well. So when you have typed in your answer, it'll go through the solution to that problem. So make sure you wait and watch for that in the animation. And it'll also give you an opportunity to practice some of these distributive property questions so that you can make sure that you're on the right track in a non-threatening but guided way. If you've used Desmos in elementary school, you might already have an account. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. So there are 2 things that you can do. You can either do this activity without creating an account, and that's fine. Just type in your first name and your last initial. That would be awesome. Then I can see who has done what and what you've answered. If you want feedback on this task, if you want me to give you some tips, some pointers, if you want me to let you know how you might think about a question in a different way or how to approach this question to get better success, then you're going to need to create an account. And the account is very quick and easy to do. So when you go to thestudent.desmos.com and you type in this access code, one of the options is to log in using a Google account, log in using a previous Desmos account that you might have already. Another option is to log in without creating an account, and then closer to the bottom of that login section is sign up for your own account. And all you need is your school email address and your first name, last initial, and you'll create some sort of password that you're going to remember later on. And then that will allow me to give you some feedback on this activity that you're going to be doing. So you can go back into Desmos and you can look for that feedback at a later time. So pause this video now, head to Desmos, do this activity, and come back to this video when you're finished. So hopefully through that Desmos activities, you can see how we can apply the distributive property in an area model. So when we're looking at multiplying one term by another term and then adding it to another term that's being multiplied by that same term. So we are taking that coefficient most of the time. Sometimes it's a term that also involves a variable, and we're multiplying it by every single term within that bracket. So that's what we call multiplying a polynomial. So the polynomial is the expression within that bracket by a monomial, and that monomial is either just a single coefficient, a variable, or a combination of the two. So hopefully that Desmos activity helped to introduce you to the distributive property. You were able to practice some questions and see how you did on that. If I haven't given you feedback already, then I will give you feedback throughout the day, so wait and watch for that. If you are feeling ready to try some questions, more questions on your own, some that make you think a little bit about what you have just learned in a different way, then check out the Check Your Understanding questions that are posted on Brightspace. Again, there are lots of questions on this worksheet as always, so pick and choose the questions that you think will be best for you, or you can follow along with the questions that I suggest here. So for part A, do questions 2A and E, 3B and G, 4F. For part B, look at question number 5, 7A and E, 9D and H, and number 12. And lastly, for a challenge, part C, question number 15. The answers are provided for you within that Check Your Understanding document on Brightspace. So there's no need to send me your completed work for this task unless you have any questions about a particular problem that's being asked of you, and you want me to take a look at your work and for me to show you where you might have gone wrong, or where you need to think about something a little bit differently. So otherwise, if you are done the work and you're getting the correct answers, then that's great. I don't need to see that. Otherwise, send me emails if you have any questions. Work productively at home, try to avoid those distractions, ask for help if needed, send me an email, ask a parent or guardian, ask an older sibling, check out some online resources. If you want to check out TVO Mathify, which has those online free math tutors, you can do that. You can check out some YouTube videos if you need to. Check out the answers on Brightspace. Phone a friend, whatever you need to do to be successful and get the help that you need during this remote learning. So pause this video now and do these Check Your Understanding questions, and then we'll get ready for that next task. So lastly, what you need to do is hopefully you have a better understanding of the distributive property. I just want to quiz you on this task now. So you're going to head to Knowledge Hook. You're going to do the distributive property quiz, the distributive property mission. It's 5 questions. Most of them are multiple choice, so please take a look at those. You can do that work and check to see which one of those matches the answers that are provided for you, and do that. And then when you're finished this, then you are done for the day. Remember, you love math, and I will see you in the next lesson.